KWT slaying.
Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So we're in dangerous times. I know a lot of times people don't want this type of message, but it is what it is. We're at that time, and this I'm gonna mention Conway, but it's not a Conway show, but um, it's getting a lot of news, right? It's getting a lot of social media attention. It's getting a lot of mainstream news attention now. If you and I did that, you wouldn't hear a thing, not a peep, right? Even if, even if you were somewhat famous or semi-famous, you would not be getting all of this publicity. I'm like, all of this is because of you. I told you, I told y'all, and I'm gonna say it again. Ever since 2019, all hell broke loose. Why? Because y'all started waking up, according to prophecy. That's why. And so what's happening right now is that a dialectic, this is just my opinion, some people all in love with Kanye. He say a lot of stuff I like. He say a lot of stuff I like. But I don't believe him. Because if it was you and me, nobody would ever hear what we said. Nobody had to hear what Kanye said. They control the media, they control the platforms. There's no reason for you to get all of it, for him to get all this attention. Other than the fact that it's a dialectic being played on you. Why I say that? Because I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. And if I'm right, probably in the next few weeks or the next month, what's gonna happen is all the camps preaching on the streets. Oh yeah, they coming for you. They're gonna find out who you are. They're gonna close down your bank accounts. They're gonna shut you off from multimedia or social media. Watch. Yes, it's controlled opposition. Exactly what it is. Controlled opposition. Because it's literally burning up the waves. Now, if you don't want the rest of the Israelites to find out who we are, you just not gonna publish it like that. You're not gonna burn up the radio. You're not gonna burn up social media. You're not gonna burn up the TV. You're not gonna burn all this up. Right? If it was that big a problem, don't expose it. They control the media, so it has to be a dialectic. And Kanye is part of it. Now, I'm not sure he's all there, to be honest with you. I mean, he could be MK Ultra. I mean, it's highly likely. Right? But this thing is dark. It is dark. The devil has been released. And so what's happening is we're at what the scripture says is the end of the age. And we're going to talk about some stuff and watch some stuff. And I could probably have gone deeper, than what I'm going to do. But You know, everybody know Matthew 24. Signs of the end of the age. Some translations say end of the world, right? But it's the end of the age. That's where we're at. We're at the end of the age. This is why this is happening. But understand that it's sort of scary in one sense because the devil going full fledged, right? I mean, literally, the devil going full fledged, and it almost like we don't have no help. If it wasn't for the scriptures, we'd be in trouble. See, that's why I'm saying if anybody try to move you away from the scriptures, don't listen to them because without the scriptures, you have no hope. Without the scriptures, you have no help. Without the scriptures, you don't know what's going on. Without the scriptures, you don't know how bad it is. So, Matthew 24, 3 to 14. As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us when will these things be, and what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age?" So, we're at the end of the age. These are signs of the end of the age. Now, is Messiah going to physically come back and get us right now? I don't think so. Right? I think we still have another 800 to 1,000 years or whatever, but I don't know. Right? Because it don't make sense otherwise. But we see through a glass darkly. So Yeshua answered them, "See that no one leads you astray." Okay, see that no one leads you astray. See that Kanye don't lead you astray. See that some of these Israelites don't lead you astray. Make sure that some of these Christians don't lead you astray. For many will come in my name, saying, "I am the Christ," and they will lead many astray. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed. Right? We hear wars, rumors of wars. See that you're not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. So, it's not the end yet. Even though we're at the end of the age, it's a time frame, it's a period of time. For nation or ethnic group shall rise against ethnic group. We see that happening. Kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains, or some translations say sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Now, if we go back to Luke 21, right, we see that a lot of this happened earlier as well, right? So the end of the age, if you look at contextually, because in Luke 21 it says you're going to be led away captive, right? So it says, then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death. And we're going to talk some more about this. And you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another. And many false prophets will arise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness, that's the time we're in, and because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. We're going to talk about this. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Well, what is the gospel of the kingdom? I did a teaching on that. What is the gospel of the kingdom? It's not the gospel of the message of salvation, the good news, what they call the good news, right? It's not the message of salvation. It's the deliverance of Israel as a people, and it's inclusive of salvation, but it's specifically the gospel of the kingdom, which is the deliverance of Israel from their captivity. And they're going to be saved. According to the scriptures, the ones who make it out alive, all of Israel are going to be saved, right? But we do know when we go in the wilderness, there's rebels, then we go back to Jerusalem. So I can't say at what point in time all of Israel saved, but at some point, according to scriptures, all Israel are going to be saved. So we're going to hear the gospel of the kingdom. Well, who's going to deliver the gospel of the kingdom? The citizens of the kingdom. What is the gospel of the kingdom? What did Yeshua say? Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. What is the kingdom? The kingdom is a Israelite kingdom. The kingdom is a Israelite kingdom, the covenant people being restored back to their land, back to their God. That's the gospel of the kingdom, that we're going to go back home. We're going to be restored to our land. The curse is lifted, right? And we're going to be saved. That's the gospel of the kingdom. If you don't understand it, go watch my video about it. Two salvations is the name of the video. Two salvations. So what we're dealing with now is the end of the age. Now, I'm gonna tell you some of this stuff. It gets a little worrisome. I mean, because of, I guess, not so much as fear, but in terms of people being deceived and not inheriting eternal life. See, here's the thing. A decision has to be made. Whose side you're on. This is what's happening now. Whose side you're on? Are you going to go along with the interfaith movement, with the do as thou wilt people shall be the whole of the law? Are you going to go along with the Luciferians and the satanic system? Or are you going to suffer in order to keep the Torah? Are you going to suffer in order to be obedient? Are you going to suffer and choose Yeshua? That's where we're at. We're being tried. We're being tried if by fire. See, this is the time we're in. And so the people who are within Eurocentric Christianity, they're not ready to suffer because they were always told they would be raptured out of here. They would be gone. But this is trying. Why? So that you can be what? Pure as gold, without spot, blemish, or wrinkle. Getting out of you the impurities and the drought. See, what's happening is everyone's being tried. Now, it's concerning to me because in my flesh, I can't win. But Yeshua already won. See, that's why I'm holding on to him. It's faith. See, we're in trouble. It's called the time of Jacob's trouble. When we went into captivity, that's when it started. And we're in a time of great trouble, which some translations is the great tribulation. And that's over a period of time as well. So the Bible says in Matthew 24, there's going to be signs in the heavens, on earth distress of nations, the seas and the waves roaring with perplexity. The scriptures also says, be careful that no one leads you astray. Why? Because there's going to be false prophets, there's going to be false Christs, there's going to be false teachers. It's not looking good for the world at all. It's not looking good at all. It's not looking good. And you got to hold on for dear life to Yeshua. That's the only way you're going to make it. If you're going to try to figure this thing out and, disregard the word of Yah and neglect Yeshua, you're done. Stick a fork in it. You're not going to survive this thing.
Chapter 13, verse 22 says, for false Christs and false prophets will rise and show signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. In the last days, there will be false signs and false wonders, false miracles being performed by just average false prophets and false Christs, as the verse mentions, as well as the Antichrist and the false prophet. Many verses, most of the verses about false signs and wonders and false miracles are related to the false prophet, which is one of the figures who, of course, I just always have my eye out for, the Antichrist and the false prophet, because we have identifying characteristics about what they'll look like in the Bible. And so it's very interesting when someone prominent in Israel starts to rise up and is actually accredited with miracles. Yes, this Yanuka Rav Shlomo Yehuda is actually accredited with performing at least 5 or 6 miracles that I'll get into here in just a moment. I'll do just a quick overview on this guy for anybody who hasn't heard of him. I learned of him through the channel Wallytron 101. Very grateful for him pointing this guy out because there's extremely strange coincidences surrounding this guy. A lot of characteristics that are similar to what the false prophet will have. So a quick overview on this guy is that he grew up as a Jewish person, obviously, but became extremely proficient in the Torah and the Talmud and all these different Jewish texts, which in itself is a supernatural sign and wonder, really, because it's said by the age of 15 that he was already proficient in the Talmud, which is like hundreds of books. So for like any human being to ever be proficient in that is shocking. They say that this guy's level of understanding in the Torah and the Talmud is only seen in like rarely in throughout generations. So that's what gives him the title, the Yanuka, somebody who is just proficient, profoundly proficient in the Torah and the Talmud and all the Jewish laws and texts and beliefs that they have. And through his understanding, he's gaining a lot of prominence in Israel. Many of the high-level Jewish rabbis and Jewish people are just in awe and going to him for their wisdom and knowledge. This just reminds me of his understanding of the Torah, and all this just reminds me of the reference of Jesus in the Bible and how there was multiple times when Jesus would be teaching and these people were saying, how does this guy know these things? He isn't even like a scholar. Just an interesting characteristic there. An interesting quote on this YouTube channel about him, the Yanuka Rav Shlomo Yehuda, I believe it's ran by just somebody else who's just in awe of this guy, has a quote from a Jewish person in the video talking about him, and this is just the mindset that they're viewing him as. It says, he is a unique and special soul that has descended into the world to illuminate the world. Extremely interesting wordage. There's another very shocking quote here from the person who made this video about him. Then I'll get into the miracles that he's actually performed. First, they reference a verse from the book of Job that says, you will decree and it will be fulfilled. That's Job 22:28. And then the person who made the video, listen to the quote they say about him. Many have experienced salvation through his blessing and in the power of his Torah and witnessed miracles transcending the forces of nature. Now that's like so much sounds like he's talking about God, but that's actually what he's referencing to this Yanuka. So now I'll get into these miracles that he's performed, but first I need to point out something that needs to be referenced, that all of these miracles, and I'll leave the videos in the description where you can see what these people's wordage of the miracles are, you know, word for word from their own mouth. Every single one of these people who talk about the miracle that happened to them, not a single one mentioned God. I believe in miracles and I believe God heals and does things, but every single person who I know who has been healed or touched by God always references Jesus or God, or this person prayed for me and God.
So I'm not going to show the whole thing, but summarize this. This particular guy supposedly created a lot of miracles, signs and wonders. And they're saying that he healed people in the hospital and things like that. I mean, whether or not that's true, I don't know. But understand is sort of like what I said about the 400-year prophecy, right? You got to put all the pieces together, right? It's accumulation of scriptures to identify what the word is truly saying. Same thing here, right? If he's not the Antichrist and if he's not the false prophet, he may be an Antichrist, right? And like I said, you know, this whole thing with Kanye is to keep your mouth shut. See, this guy has arrived. So now if you start saying something, you're going to be anti-Semitic. You're going to be shut down, right? Your account is going to be frozen. You see how things are working out? But the average person can't see it. The average person don't know what's happening. Now, I'm going to show this other video. You know, this is with JW.
Things are about to get deeper than ever all around us in these coming days, weeks, and months. I am about to lead you up into what is happening now and what is potentially about to transpire. This is another world alert, day 7. of HARP's experiment. The new target is set, and now it's already affecting things as we speak.
USGS is reporting a 5.1 earthquake that struck near San Jose just a short time ago.
But that's also left the province dealing with a major drought.
In the Hiltzik territory in Bella Bella, an alarming video has captured the devastating results on our coastal wildlife.
It's a horrifying sight. Video posted to social media shows tens of thousands of dead salmon lying at the bottom of this dried out creek in Bella Bella.
It's unheard of. Nobody in the community that's living here in the community has ever seen anything like this before.
The video was taken last week by a German researcher working in the community, but locals didn't see it until Monday. The community devastated as they rely on this watershed for food.
It's all going down even more. This HARP is on day 7, and you got to take into account that some huge moves happened before everything started taking place. HARP got his experiment ready, and then NASA was saying, well, we're going to stop some object from coming towards Earth. But
So I'm gonna pause that right there. So you saw that the fish died, right? That's prophetic as well, right? We saw that the fish died. I'm gonna skip a little bit. I don't want to really talk about the harp stuff too much, even though it could be harp, but it also, the Most High could judge this world any way He want. He could use them to judge it. So, but these signs and wonders are here.
There's something just right behind it. Something blue.
if this Hopi prophecy is actually coming true, and we're seeing this in the sky, multiple videos have been put out. This means some type of mass wipeout event was underway, and we're in the middle of it. And this thing is showing up. It's supposed to be some spirit that signifies a new beginning. But we go back to this footage of the telescope when the guy looks at the sun. You see that blue object also over there. And so something is supposed to project.
So he says it's the blue Kachina. And, I don't know if this stuff is legit. I didn't see it myself. But he said it's a poster on the Hopi prophecy denote new beginnings, right? Which would be a new age. And we're going to get into this because, it all seems to be coming together to me, and why everybody acting crazy today.
From the sun, according to undercover physicists giving out intel. And the thing is this, they're prepositioning us and they're showing us how much the world is going to change. This was about some months back when they actually must have turned up the artificial sun, and the streets literally was melting, sounding like water. Also, some strange things is definitely happening on the sun. And they keep telling us, oh, it's just sunspots. But this was a feed they cut, and a black cube came out of the sun. Look at that right there. That's when they glitched and they turned off the feed. A black cube came from the sun. You're going to see it here once again. We're going to show you it. What are these objects doing coming out of the sun?
I don't know if this is a picture of the sun. I don't know if this is one of the made up stuff. But we know, according to the book of Revelation, an angel is in the sun, right? I'm just saying, there's some weird stuff going on. And I'm telling you, spiritually wise, I'm sensing destruction. Just darkness and evil and final moves, end games, like in chess, right? End games. That's what I'm sensing. We're in the end game. We'll see. Like I say, I don't consider myself a prophet. I'm just sharing.
And remember, they released footage that there was a gigantic hole in the sun, and somehow these holes just randomly disappear from the sun. How is this happening? The sun must be hollow, and there must be beings living in the sun The Aztecs said deities descended from the sun and came down upon earth. How do we know that's not still happening? Here's some crazy sounds that's just released of Earth's magnetic field.
I'm gonna skip from here because I really don't care about the noise stuff. But let's go to a little further on. Yeah, I don't really care about the harp stuff too much. The electromagnetic waves. It may be true. And you could watch this video. You go to JWTV if you want to see some more. But I don't know too much about the harp stuff. I don't really care. Where is it? Okay. Right here towards the end. So they talk about this telescope and all of this stuff right here, but we're going to skip past all that.
Objects that could threaten the Earth eventually. So that's interesting in its own right.
So this was supposedly October 2022 in China, and they saw this in the heavens. Maybe it's Project Blue Beam. I don't know. But it looks like letters, and some of them, like, that one in the middle look like a T almost, but I don't know what it is. But there's signs in the heavens, right? Regardless, whether it's Project Blue Beam or whatever.
Coming straight.
So why did I want to show this? Why is it important? Because the Bible says there will be signs, right? So we're going to go to Second Ezra chapter 4, verse 51 to 52. And we're going to read a little bit of Ezra's. Ezra's is deep. I'm serious. It's deep, and it's sort of scary too. But Second Ezra chapter 4 verses 51 to 52. Please tell me, I asked, do you think I will live until that time? Talking about the end times or the end of the age. If not, who will be alive when it happens? He answered, I can tell you some of the signs of the end, if that is what you are asking about, but I am not here to tell you how long you will live. And in any case, I don't know. So we're going to talk about what Ezra says about the signs of the end, right? So we got Matthew 24, signs in the heavens, denoting the end of the age. On earth, distress of nations, the seas and the waves roaring with perplexity, right? All these are the beginning of sorrows, leading to the final end, to the return of the Messiah. How much time left? I don't know. But apparently we're in these times because all of these things are here. Messiah is not here yet, but there's a lot of stuff that happens in between, in my opinion. Us, being in the land with the Messiah, because it appears to me we go back first. How we get there, I don't know. Does Yeshua come and get us? I don't know. Does the angels come and get us? I don't know. But these are dangerous times, and people are not discerning at all. Most people, right? So Second Ezra 5. But these are the signs, right? We're talking about the signs of the end. But these are the signs. The time will come when all people on earth, all people on earth will be in the grip of great confusion. I ask your family, are we in the midst of great confusion right now? Yes or no? I've never seen anything like this. Confusion everywhere. Political confusion, military confusion, gender confusion, confusion at all levels. It boggles the mind, right? The way of truth will be hidden, and no faith will be left in the land. Wickedness will increase until it has become worse than you have ever known it to be. The country that you see ruling, okay, who's ruling right now, fam? The country that you now see ruling the world will lie in ruins with no inhabitant or traveler there. What does the canon say that nation is? It is Babylon. Who do you believe Babylon is, family? Who's ruling right now? Who's ruling the world? Because it says the country that you now see ruling the world will lie in ruins with no inhabitant or traveler there. Is that not the same description given to Babylon? No one's going to go by her anymore because she's going to be destroyed. They're going to hiss at her, right? When she's destroyed, the country that rules the world will lie in ruins. Verse 4, after that, if Yah, the Most High, lets you live long enough, you will see that country in confusion. Are we not in confusion? The sun will suddenly start shining at night and the moon in the daytime. Now, I haven't seen that yet. I'm curious if we're going to see this. I would think so. The sun will suddenly start shining at night and the moon in the daytime. Any of y'all see that yet? I haven't seen it. Some part of the world, I don't know. I do remember a few years ago when Russia, what was it? I forgot the part in Russia that was in darkness. I remember that. Verse 5, blood will drip from trees, stones will speak, nations will be in confusion, the movement of the stars will be changed. A king unwanted by anyone will begin to rule, and the birds will fly away. I wonder who that king is that's unwanted by anyone. Could that be Trump? I don't know. Or maybe it's Obama. I don't know. I'm hearing the right wing saying Obama coming back. I don't know. I don't see how Obama can come back. But a king unwanted by anyone will begin to rule, and the birds will fly away. Fish will be washed up on the shores of the Dead Sea. Now, my opinion is that this fish being washed up on the shores is not the Dead Sea. I believe it's just the sea. My opinion is that this is a mistranslation. So we saw that those fish in JWTV's video, the fish, all of that salmon had died. Now, JW says it's probably harp. I don't know. Either way it goes, it's prophetic. So fish will be washed up on the shores of the Dead Sea. The voice of one whom many do not know will be heard at night. Everyone will hear it. The earth will break open in many places and begin spouting out flames. Wild animals will leave the fields and forests. At their monthly periods, women will bear monsters. Could that be because of the lollipop that women gonna bear monsters? It's a dangerous time. It really is. Fresh water will become salty. Friends everywhere will attack one another. Then understanding will disappear and reason will go into hiding. And they will not be found even though many may look for them. Everywhere on earth, wickedness. Where? Everywhere on earth, wickedness and violence will increase. One country will ask a neighboring country if justice or anyone who does right has come that way. But the answer will always be no. At that time, people will hope for much, but will get nothing. They will work hard, but will never succeed at anything. Now, I'm looking at this in terms of what we know from what we call canon, that this is in reference to the Gentile. Because we know we go back to the land, and we know that God is going to give us a new heart, and we're going to always be with him and never get kicked out again. If these particular verses are dealing with the Gentiles, then we see that the curses are reversing, right? The curses that were on us is going on them. See, at that time, people will hope for much, right? But will get nothing. They will work hard, but will never succeed at anything. Does that not sound like the curses, family, of Deuteronomy 28? So if we're going to be delivered and the curses being lifted off of us, then this must be in reference to the Gentiles, right? The curse is going on them. Verse 13, these are the signs of the end that I am permitted to show you. But if you begin to pray again and continue to weep and fast for 7 more days, you will hear even greater things. Then I woke up and I was trembling violently. I was so disturbed that I was about to faint. But the angel that had come to talk with me took hold of me, strengthened me, and set me on my feet. The next night, Phaltiel, who was a leader of the people, came to me and asked, "Where have you been? Why do you look so sad? Don't you know that people of Israel, who? The world? Who? The church? Don't you know that the people of Israel in the land of their exile have been put in your care?" Who? The people of Israel. They're in exile? Who could they be? So get up and eat. Do not abandon us like a shepherd leaving his flock to the attacks of savage wolves. Leave me alone, I answered. Do not come near me for the next 7 days, then come back. So he left. Then, crying and mourning, I fasted 7 days as the angel Uriel had commanded me to do. At the end of 7 days, I was again deeply troubled, but I recovered my ability to think, and again I began to speak with the Most High. Yahuwah, our Elohim, I said, from all the forests and plants on earth, you have chosen this one vine. What? Come on now. Where them Christians at? Oh, well, we don't believe in the Apocrypha. I said, from all the forests and plants on earth, you have what? Chosen one vine. From all the countries of the world, you have chosen this one small land. From all the flowers in the world, you have chosen this one lily. From all the water in the deep oceans, you have filled up this one river. From all the cities that have been built, you have set apart this one city. What? Jerusalem as your own. One people, one nation, one city as his own. From all the birds that were created, you chose this one dove. From all the animals that were made, you chose this one lamb. From all the nations of the world, you chose this one nation to be your own, and you gave its people your law, which is honored by people everywhere. And now, Lord, since all of this is true, why have you dishonored this one people more than all the others by handing them over to many nations? Why have you scattered your own people? Who has been handed over to many nations? Who believed in your covenants? Why have you let them be trampled by people who rejected your promises? Ain't nobody else but the Negro. If you are so angry with your own people, you yourself ought to punish them. When I had finished speaking, the angel who had come to me on a previous night was sent to me again. He said, "Listen carefully to me, and I will teach you more." "Please go on, sir," I said. So he continued, "Are you worried about the people of Israel? Do you think you love them more than Yah, who made them?" "No, sir," I replied. "I spoke as I did because I was so confused and upset. I'm always troubled whenever I try to think about the ways of Yah or to understand even a small part of what he does." "You cannot understand," he answered. I asked, "Why not, sir?" "In that case, why was I born? Why didn't I die before I was born? Then I wouldn't have seen the sufferings and troubles of the people of Israel." See, Israel has been persecuted. Israel has been scattered. Israel is in exile because of sin, because of idolatry. Who else is that? Come on now. The angel said to me, "I will answer you if you can do the following things. Tell me how many people are yet to be born, collect scattered raindrops for me, make dead flowers bloom again, open the rooms where the winds are locked up and make them blow for me. Show me the picture of a sound. If you can do these things, I will answer your questions about the sufferings of the people of Israel." So Israel ain't prospering. Israel ain't top right now. Israel is suffering. This is second Ezra. I answered, "Yahuwah, our Elohim. No one can do these things except Yah, who is not confined to this world. How can I give you any kind of answer? What do I know? He continued, you could not do even one of the things I asked you to do. How can you expect to understand Yah's judgments or why Yah has promised his love to his people? Then I said, but Yahuwah, our Elohim, your concern is with the people who will be alive at what? The end of the world. This is for you, Israel. This is for y'all. This is for us. The people at the end of the world or the end of the age. What will happen to those who live before that time? What about us? What about those who came before us and those who live after us? He answered me, the final judgment can be compared to a circle. It just as a circle has no beginning or end, so those who come early will not be too early, and those who come late will not be too late. I replied, but couldn't you have created all human beings, those of the past, the present, and the future, so that they would all live at the same time, and that way you could have had your final judgment sooner? He answered, the creation cannot move faster than the creator, and besides, the world wouldn't have been able to hold all the people if everyone had been created at the same time. Why then, I asked, did you just now tell me that one day you would bring back to life at the same time every creature that ever lived? If the world can hold them all then, it can hold them now. He answered, that would be like asking a woman who was giving birth to 10 children why she didn't have them all at once instead of one at a time. That would be impossible, I answered. She cannot have them all at once. In the same way, he continued, I have made the world like a womb so that it produces human beings at regular intervals. The rule that neither a young child nor an old woman can give birth to a baby also applies to the world that I've created. Then I said, since you have brought up the subject, may I ask if the world you have been talking about is still young or is it approaching old age? He replied, you can learn the answer from any woman who has given birth to several children. I thought this was pretty interesting here. Ask her why her younger children do not grow as tall as her older children. She will tell you that those born while she was young and healthy are much stronger than those born when she was getting older and becoming weak. It's interesting because, you know, my older sister, she's not here anymore, but she was tall, a little taller than us. It's interesting that they say that, right? That the younger children do not grow as tall as the older children. I wasn't as tall as her. She was a little taller than me. Ask her why her children do not grow as tall as her older children. She will tell you that those born while she was young and healthy are much stronger than those born when she was getting old and becoming weak. You will notice that you are smaller than people of earlier generations. Those who come later will be smaller still. This shows you that creation is already getting old and losing the strength of her youth, just like we all are, right? If you please, Yah, I asked, will you show me in the one through whom you will bring judgment on your creation? So how is judgment coming on the creation? So we're talking about the signs of the times, the end of the age, right? Second Ezra 6. He said to me, I made this decision before I created the world. Before the gates of the world were standing, before the winds were brought together to blow, or the lightning flashed, or the thunder rolled, before the foundations of paradise were laid, or the beautiful flowers appeared, before the powers that moved the stars were established, or the armies of angels assembled, before the air was piled up high, or the divisions of the heavens given their names, before I chose Mount Zion as my footstool, before the present age was planned, or the scheming of its sinners was rejected, or my seal was placed on those who obeyed the law and laid up a treasure for faithfulness. See, you got to be found faithful. You got to do what he said in his word. You got to obey the law, statutes, and commandments, not to obtain salvation, but obedience. right? It's by grace you are saved through faith, but you're going to show that faith is active faith by obedience, right? So even then, I decided that since I and I alone had created the world, I and I alone would bring it to an end. Then I asked how long a period of time will divide the ages. So we're talking about ages, right? And we're talking about the end of the age. When will the first age end and the next begin? He answered, the interval will be no longer than that between Abraham and Abraham. I think that must be a typo or mistranslation there, right? Abraham to Abraham, right? He was the grandfather of both Jacob and Esau. And when they were born, Jacob was holding Esau's heel. Esau represents the end of this age, which is the first age. And Jacob represents the beginning of the new age. So we're at the end of the age. It's the end of the Gentile rule. It is the time for Jacob's rule. So Esau is ruling the current age. But the age that's coming is what? Jacob's. Now, we also know that according to the scriptures in Daniel, at the time of these 10, the 10 nations, right, that's going to destroy Babylon. At the times of these 10 shall the God of heaven set up another kingdom. So that's the coming of Jacob's age. So right now, Esau is ruling. Jacob is coming to rule. So all of this lines up with what we call canon, right? So the Christians say we all the same. Ain't nobody gonna rule over nobody. There's no hierarchy. Okay, well, you got to deal with this stuff. But I know they don't believe the Apocrypha, but it's all over canon too, right? So verse 10. So if Jacob's hand is the beginning of Esau's heel, is the end, right? Because Esau's heel is the end. Esau's the first age. He rules the first age. The end of his heel is the end of his rule, the end of his body. Jacob's holding on to his heel because Jacob is the next age. So if Jacob's hand is the beginning and Esau's heel is the end, do not try to find a space in between. So apparently there's no space in between where there's going to be another age. It's Esau's reign, then it's Jacob's reign. Yahuwah, our master, I said, please hear my request. On that earlier night, you showed me some of the signs of the end. Now, please show me the rest. So we're talking about what? Signs of the end. Stand up, he said, and you will hear a very loud voice. If the place where you're standing is violently shaking while the voice is speaking, don't be afraid. The message will be about the end of the world. And the foundations of the world will understand that the voice is speaking about them. They will tremble and quake because they know that they will undergo a change when the end comes. What? They will undergo a change when the end comes. Now, what are they talking about doing? They're talking about creating a change. It's called the Great Reset. They're trying to make a change. They're bringing in interfaithism. They're bringing in the COP27, right? It's all about making a change. They're manipulating people's genomes. It's all about changing people. Some they want to change into monsters. They call them super soldiers. So when he said this, I stood up and listened. I heard a voice that sounded like a roaring river. It said, the time is near when I will come to judge the people living on the earth. I will punish those who have hurt others with their injustice. See, we didn't warn y'all, Gentiles. Jerusalem's humiliation will come to an end. Same story in what we call canon. I will punish those who have hurt others with their injustice. And Jerusalem's humiliation, so they hurt Jerusalem. That's the people of God. That's Israel. Jerusalem's humiliation will come to an end. And this age, we're at the end of the age, which is about to pass away. Yes, that's what's happening. We'll have the final seal put on it. Then I will give the following signs. The books will be open across the sky for all to see. So the books are going to be open across the sky for all to see. I don't know if what we saw in the video about those signs in the sky in China is legit. I don't even know if it was a language, but it's interesting that the books will be open in the sky for all to see. I'm just saying, I don't know. It looks curious to me. Children only a year old will speak. Pregnant women will give birth after only 3 or 4 months, and their premature babies will live and run about. Planted fields will suddenly become bare, and full barns will suddenly become empty. Does it not sound like today? Then the trumpet will sound, and sudden terror will grip the heart of everyone when they hear it. Friends will fight like enemies, and the earth and its people will be terrified. Rivers will stop flowing and stand still for 3 hours. Those who survive all these things, so, the Mississippi drying up, all these rivers and lakes are drying up. I'm just saying, I don't know. Those who survive all these things that I predicted will be rescued when I bring to an end this world that I created. So those who endure to the end, according to canon, the same shall be saved, right? Same thing, right? Those who endure to the end, the same shall be saved. They will see those who never died but were taken up alive into heaven. The hearts and minds of people on earth will be changed. Evil will be destroyed and deceit eliminated. Faith will grow strong, corruption will be overcome, and truth, which has not produced fruit for so long, will make itself felt again. While the voice was speaking, the ground beneath me began to rock back and forth. Then the angel said to me, "These are the things that I have come to show you tonight. Now, if you will pray and fast for 7 more days, I will come back and tell you even greater things. Because Yah, the Most High, has heard your prayer. The mighty God has seen the pure and righteous life that you have lived since your youth. That is why he has sent me to show you all these things and to tell you not to be afraid, but to trust him." So this is the statement to you, Israel, and to me as well, right? That is why he has sent me to show you all these things and to tell you not to be afraid, Israel, but to trust him. Don't be afraid. It's dark out there, but don't be afraid. After that, I mourned and fasted for 7 more days as I had done before, and so I completed the 3 weeks of fasting that I had been commanded to observe. On the 8th night, I was again deeply troubled, and I began to speak to Yah, the Most High. I was very tense, and my heart was uneasy, but I said, "Yahuwah, my Elohim, at the beginning of creation, you spoke the word. On the first day, you commanded, let the universe be made, and your word carried out that command. In that time, the spirit was moving, darkness and silence were everywhere, and no human voice was yet heard. Then you commanded that a ray of light shine out of the room where it was stored so that your works could be seen. On the second day, you created the angel of the sky and commanded to separate the water so that part of it would move up above the dome of the sky and part remain below. On the third day, you commanded the water that covered the earth to come together in one place and cover 1/7 of the earth's surface. Then you dried out the rest of the earth's surface to make dry land, so that it might be cultivated and planted and used in your service. Your word went out and completed the work immediately. In an instant, all kinds of fruits and vegetables appeared, enough kinds to satisfy every taste. There were flowers of indescribable fragrances and the most magnificent colors. These things were made on the third day. On the fourth day, the bright shining sun, the light of the moon, and the arrangement of stars were created by your command. You commanded them to serve the human race, which would soon be created. On the fifth day, you commanded the part of the earth covered by water to produce birds and fish, and it was done. At your command, the still and lifeless water brought forth living creatures so that the nations might proclaim your wonderful works. Then you singled out 2 of the living creatures you named, one of them Behemoth, the other Leviathan. You separated them from each other because the sea wasn't big enough to hold them. You let behemoth live on the part of the land that you dried up on the third day of creation. It is a land of 1,000 mountains. You let Leviathan live in the sea. You kept them both alive so that your chosen people may feast on them at the time you choose. On the sixth day, you commanded the earth to produce the animals, domestic, wild, large, and small. More important than all of these, you created Adam and put him in charge of everything that you made, and all of us, the people you have chosen, are descended from him. O Yahuwah, I've told you all this because you said that you created first world for the sake of your people. This is in canon too, right? Everything was created for Israel, for the remnant. You created this first world for the sake of your people. You said that in spite of their great numbers, all the other nations which descended from Adam are nothing, worth no more than a drop of water, no more than spit. Go read it in canon too. But now, Yahuwah, those nations that are considered as nothing, what? Are ruling over us and destroying us. Okay, what group of people on the face of this earth is being ruled over by nations and being destroyed by those nations? I'm just saying. We are your people, and you have called us your firstborn. Canon says the same thing. Your only child, your witness, your loved one. But we have been handed over to the power of these other nations. Who was handed over to the power of the other nations? Only the Negro. It's called transatlantic slave trade. It's called slavery. If this world was really created for the sake of your people, why don't we have possession of it? How much longer must we wait? So that's the question. How much longer do we wait? That's what we're doing. We all waiting, right? So we're going to go over to Second Ezra. Let's see. Second Ezra 6. No, I'm sorry. Second Ezra 7. All right. Yeah, Second Ezra 7. This is going to be the last chapter I go through. But it's interesting because, Second Ezra answers a lot of things, a lot of questions that we may have had. And, to be honest, you get to see that the Most High is in control. You get to see through Second Ezra that he don't play. He the same Elohim that said, take off your shoes, Moses, because there's holy ground. He ain't changed. He's extending grace and mercy, but he the same Elohim. Second Ezra 7, when I had finished speaking, the same angel that had been sent to me on the earlier nights appeared again. He said, stand up, Ezra, and listen to what I've come to tell you. Go ahead, sir, I said. He continued, picture in your mind a broad immense sea spreading over a vast area, but with an entrance no wider than a river. No one who wishes to enter that sea, whether to visit it or control it, can reach its broad expanse of water without passing through the narrow entrance. Or take another example, picture a city built on a plain. The city is full of all kinds of good things, but the entrance to it is narrow and steep, with fire on one side and deep water on the other. In other words, you ain't going to get there without some trouble. And not too many people are going to survive the journey. The one path between the fire and the water is so narrow that only one person at a time may walk on it. If anyone inherits this city, he cannot take possession of his inheritance without passing through this dangerous entrance. Listen to what's saying here. Yahuwah is saying that you cannot take possession of your inheritance, Israel, without passing through the dangerous entrance. You can't get your inheritance, Israel, without suffering. You can't get your inheritance, Israel, without pain. What we call canon says the suffering of this world cannot be compared to the glory to be revealed in us. See, we think it's some strange thing that is come upon us that we have to suffer, because that's what Eurocentric Christianity does. It tells you there's no suffering. You ain't got to worry about it. The Antichrist ain't going to mess with you. The devil ain't going to touch you. You ain't going to have to use your faith. That's what they tell you. They didn't lie. Verse 10, that is right, sir, I said. That is how it is with the people of Israel, he said. With who? The people of Israel. You ain't going to get your inheritance without being tried. Because God wants gold. I made this world what? For their sake. For whose sake? For the church? I'm just asking. I made the world for their sake. Who, the descendants of Adam? I made the world for their sake. Who? Israel. It told you that in verse 10. But when Adam broke my commands, the world came under my judgment. Then the entrances into this world were made narrow and difficult to travel. So it's difficult to live in this world. The Bible says you're going to have tribulation. They were rough, dangerous, and few in number. But the entrances to the great world to come, that's the new world, the new heaven and earth. But the entrance to the great world to come are wide and safe and lead to immortality. Everyone who lives must walk the narrow and meaningless ways of this world. So in this world, it's a struggle. In this world, it's tough. You got to suffer. You're not going to get the inheritance without pain in order to receive the blessing stored up in the world to come. So we must suffer in order to inherit the world to come. So don't act like you ain't going to suffer. You ain't going to fight. You're not going to be tested. This is a test. You have to go through in order to get immortality. You have to go through to inherit the world to come. That's verse 14. 15. So Ezra, why are you upset and disturbed by the thought that you are a mortal and must die? Why don't you think about the age to come rather than the present age, right? Because we living in the present age. That's why he worried about it. We living in the present age. But we can't really worry about the present age because it's full of suffering. So think about the world to come where there's no more suffering. I answered, Yahuwah my Elohim, in your law, you said that the righteous would receive all these blessings, but that the wicked would perish. The righteous then can endure all the difficulties of this narrow way because they look forward to the broad and open life of the future. But the wicked must pass through the narrow way without any hope of seeing the broad open life. The angel replied, do you think you are a better judge than Yahuwah? Do you think you are wiser than the Most High? It is better to let many people of the present age perish. What? It is better to let many people of the present age perish than to allow them to neglect the law that God has given them. Christianity say there is no more law. Not good. Yahuwah has given clear commandments to everyone coming into this world. What? He gave us commandments. What? Everyone coming into this world has his laws, telling them what they should do to obtain life and to avoid punishment. So without the law, you ain't gonna know what to do. But the wicked would not listen and refuse to obey him. In their foolishness, they have made their own wicked and deceitful plans. They denied the existence of Yahuwah and refused to follow his ways. They have rejected his law. They say there is no more law. Refused to accept his promises, disobeyed his decrees, and failed to do what he commanded. That's the reason, Ezra, that there is emptiness for the empty and fullness for the full. The time is coming when these signs will take place. The invisible city will appear, and the land that is now hidden will be seen. Everyone who survives what? Everyone who what? Everyone who survives the calamities I have predicted will also see the wonderful things I will do. So remember I told y'all those who survived the sword, that's what we see in Jeremiah. Same thing. Those who survived the calamities, what? The lack of food, the lack of water, the plagues, the judgments. Those who survive the calamities will also see the wonderful things to come. So some people ain't gonna survive. Everybody not gonna survive. Your name better be written in the Lamb's Book of Life, because everybody not gonna make it. But if you survive the sword, you're gonna get out. See, we are in these times. This is why people are trying to mislead you and misdirect you and reinterpret the word. Verse 28. My son, the Messiah, will be revealed together with those who come with him. He will bring about 400 years of happiness, and all these survivors. At the end of that time, my son Messiah and all human beings will die. Now, right here, I think this is a mistranslation. What I think is saying is that Messiah would die just like all men would die. We know that Yeshua came to be a sacrifice for us. He died on the cross and he was resurrected again. I think that's what's happening here, right? We see those type of things. All right, verse 30. Then the world will return to its original silence, and for 7 days it will be like it was at the beginning. No one will be left alive. After 7 days, this corrupt age will pass out of existence, and a new age will be awakened. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about the new age to come, not the new age as the Luciferians teach. The age of Jacob. The corrupt age is the age of Esau. We're in that now. We're in the corrupt age. After 7 days, this corrupt age will pass out of existence, and then the new age, the age of Jacob, will be awakened. Verse 32, the ground will give up the dead who sleep there in silence, and the souls of the dead will be released from the places where they've been kept. Yahuwah the Most High will appear on his judgment seat. Mercy and patience will vanish completely. So no more mercy. And be replaced by judgment. Truth and faithfulness will once again stand firm. The good and the bad that people have done will be fully revealed, and the reward of punishment will follow immediately. The pit of torment, the fires of hell. See, nobody preaching hell no more. Why? It don't pay. The pit of torment and the fires of hell will appear, and opposite them of paradise, joy, and rest. So they're going to see hell on one side, and they're going to see paradise that they could have had on the other. Verse 37, then Yahuwah will say to the nations that have raised from the dead, look, I am the one whom you have denied and refused to serve. It is my commands that you have rejected. What? His laws. Look around you. There is joy and peace in one direction, fire and torment in the other. That's what he will say to them on Judgment Day. On Judgment Day, there will be no sun, moon, stars, no cloud, thunders, and lightning, wind, water, air, darkness, evening, morning, summer, spring, winter, heat, frost, cold, hail, rain, dew, no noon, night, dawn, daylight, brightness, or light. The only light will be the dazzling brightness of Yahuwah, making it possible for everyone to see. The judgment will last 7 years. That's the arrangement I've made for Judgment Day. But I have revealed these things only to you. Then I said, Yahuwah, I repeat what I said earlier. How fortunate are the people who can live now and obey your commands. But what about those for whom I've been praying? There is no one in the present generation who has not sinned, no one who has not broken your covenant. Now I understand that the world to come will bring joy to only a few, but torment to many. Strive to attend to that gate, fam. Verse 48. The evil impulse within us has grown, and it has led us away from Yahuwah's ways, brought us to ruin, put us on the way to death and destruction, and taken us far from life. It has destroyed not only a few, but almost everyone who was ever created. Listen to me, the angel said, and I will teach you further and correct your thinking. Because only a few will be saved. Who? A remnant. Because only a few will be saved. Yahuwah created two worlds instead of one. As you say, only a few people are righteous, but there are large numbers of wicked people. But listen, if you had only a few precious stones, would you add lumps of lead and clay to them in order to have more? Surely no one would do that, sir, I answered. Take another illustration, he continued. The earth itself will give you an answer if you humbly ask it. Whether it produces more gold, silver, copper, iron, lead, or clay. There's more silver than gold, more copper than silver, more iron than copper, more lead than iron, and more clay than lead. So judge for yourselves which are more desirable and valuable, common things or rare. I answered, Yahuwah, our Elohim, the common things are cheap. It is the rare things that are valuable. All right, he replied. So draw the logical conclusion. The person who has what is scarce has more reason to be pleased than the person who has what is plentiful. It's the same with the judgment that I've promised. I will be pleased with the few who will be saved, because they are the ones who now praise and honor me and make my name known. I will not be sad among the large number of people who will be lost, because even now they last no longer than a vapor. They disappear like fire and smoke. They catch fire, blaze up, and quickly go out. See, that's why everybody attached to this land, attached to America. They want all that money, but the money is a farce. It's nothing but paper. Who cares about all this stuff? If you don't have Yahuwah, who cares? He gave you everything. Everything you desire is from him. Verse 62, then I said to the earth, look at what you've done. When you gave birth to the rest of creation, you gave birth to reason. It would have been better if you had never been created. Then we humans would never have had the power of reasoning. But as it is now, our reason grows up with us and then torments us because we realize that we're going to die. Compared to us who must bear this sorrow, the dumb animals must be happy. No joke. They are much better off than we are. They do not have to look forward to the judgment. They're not aware of the torment or salvation that is promised to them after death. See, here's the thing. Even though it may be better for the animals because they're dumb and they're not going to be judged, they have no hope of the salvation in the promises. See, because the promises are so great, but the only ones worthy of the promises are the redeemed, the remnant, the obedient, the ones who walk by faith and not by sight, the ones who trust in Yahuwah, the ones who stand strong in the midst of a storm, the ones who stand strong in the midst of the fiery furnace. See, that's where we're at today, fam. We're going to have to stand strong and say, though they slay me, yet will I trust him. What good is it to us that we are going to be given life in the future if it is to be a life of terrible torment? Everyone who is born is caught in the web of sin, is full of wickedness and burdened with guilt. I think it would be better if after that we did not have to face judgment. The angel replied, when Yahuwah was creating the world, as well as Adam and his descendants, the first thing he did was to get everything ready for the judgment. So that's the first thing he did before he created the world, was get everything ready for the judgment. So you ought to learn from your own words. You said that your reason grows up with you. And that's the point. The people of this world use their reason and sin. So you had a choice. They used the reason that God gave them to sin. They received Yah's commands, but did not keep them. They accepted the law and then disobeyed it. And that's why they will suffer torment. Thank God for Yeshua, who took on our sins. For those who believe will not suffer eternal death. What excuse can they offer at judgment? How can they answer at the last day? Yahuwah the Most High has been very patient with the people of this world for a long time, but it has not been for their sake. He has done it for the sake of the age to come. For the age to come. This is why we're going through all of this. It's for the sake of the age to come. So there will be no sin, no torment, right? No falling away. Everyone gets to choose. You're being tried. You're being tested to see what type of faith you have, because without faith, it's impossible to please him. Do you have gold? Do you have silver? Do you have copper or lead? Do you have clay? What is it? Where's your faith? Then I said, sir, may I ask you please to explain to me what happens when we die? When each of us must give back our soul, will we be kept at rest until the time when you begin to make your new creation? Or will our torment begin immediately? I will answer that question also, he replied, but do not include yourself. So Israel, the obedient, the ones walking by faith, do not include yourself as in the ones who are being tormented, assuming you're obeying his laws, statutes, and commandments, and you trust his son for salvation and not your efforts to keep the law. I will answer that question also, he replied, but do not include yourself among those who will be tormented because they have no use for religion. After all, you have a treasure of good works stored up with Yah, which will not be shown to you until the last days. But to answer your question about that, when Yahuwah has pronounced the final decree that a person shall die, the soul leaves the body to return to the one who gave it. Immediately it praises Yahuwah. Let me explain first about people who had no use for the ways of Yah and hated those who worshiped him. There's no place where their souls can go for rest. They must wander around forever in torment, grief, and sorrow. Their torment will progress in 7 stages. First, they ignore the law of the Most High. What? They ignore the law of the Most High. Second, they can no longer make a sincere repentance and obtain life. Their hearts got hardened. They couldn't repent. Third, they see the reward stored up for those who put their faith in the covenants of the Most High. Fourth, they think about the torment that has been stored up for them in the last days. Fifth, they see angels guarding the homes of other souls in complete silence. Sixth, they recognize that they must soon be tormented. 7, and worst of all, when they see the glory of Yahuwah, they are sick with remorse and shame. They cringe in fear because while they were living, they sinned against him. And now they are about to come before him to be judged on the last day. Now, let me explain about those who follow the ways of Yahuwah and what will happen when the time comes for them to leave their mortal bodies. While they lived on earth through constant difficulty and danger, what? Tribulation, right? Constant difficulty and danger. So this is something we have to live through, right? Difficulty and danger. They served Yahuwah and carefully kept the law given by the lawgiver. This is what we will receive. They will rejoice when they see the great glory of Yahuwah. He will receive them and they will enter their rest in 7 stages of joy. So you had 7 torments, now you got 7 joys. The first joy is to have struggled hard and won the victory over the evil impulse, which was formed in them, but which did not succeed in leading them from life into death. Praise Yahuwah. The second is to see the endless wandering of the souls of the wicked and the punishment that is waiting for them. The third is to know what a good report their maker has given about them, that during their lifetime they kept the law that was entrusted to them. The fourth is to appreciate the rest that they are to enjoy in the places where they have been brought together, guarded by angels in complete silence and with the glory that is waiting for them at the last day. The fifth is to rejoice that they have now escaped the corrupt world and that they will receive the future life as their possession. They can see both the narrow, troubled world from which they have been freed and the spacious world they will receive and enjoy forever. The sixth is to be shown how their faces will shine like the sun and how they are to be like the light of the stars that never die. The seventh joy, and best of all, is when they rush to meet Yahuwah face to face with perfect trust and happiness without any fear or shame. They served him during their lifetime and now will receive from him their reward and glory. I'm going to stop right there, fam. As you can see, there's blessings, there's curses. The curses are going to go on the Gentiles, just as we see in what we call canon. We have the same thing here. Those who trust in Yahuwah, right, and obey his commands, they're going to have eternal life and live with Yahuwah. Everyone has a choice. We're going to struggle. We're going to suffer. Some of us may die. But in the end, if you obey his laws and trust in Yeshua for salvation, you will live with him in eternity in a new age. So Satan has his new age. Yahuwah has his new age. Satan's trying to bring about his new age right now. That's what you see happening now. That's why all this chaos. That's why all this grief. That's why all these wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, pessimists. You know what I'm saying? Right now, nothing but strife, but we have to go through it. Don't think it strange that you're being tried, because those trials are common to every man. But you want to avoid hell. Nobody's talking about that no more. Nobody's teaching about hell. Nobody's talking about repentance. Nobody's talking about forgiveness. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody want to get paid, but nobody want to serve. Nobody wants to suffer. Everybody wants to be your boss. Everybody wants to be your leader, but Yeshua is your leader. He's your boss. That's like I tell people, I say, look, you want to make it out alive. Hold fast to the promises of Yahuwah. Obey his commands. Don't let go. Hold on to Yeshua. Don't let go. Don't trust me. Don't trust no man, because every man gonna fail you. Hold on to Yeshua and you'll make it in. Obey his commands. You'll make it in. Don't go with these new books. Don't go with the sealed portions. Don't go with the Book of Mormon. Don't go with the Druidism, because they're leading you down another path and leading you to another Messiah. So, based upon what I'm seeing, and I'm going to end it here. Based upon what I'm seeing, we have to go through much tribulation to enter the kingdom, right? In order to get our inheritance, as we saw in 2nd Ezra. That's where we at. I know you're not hearing that from nobody else, but that's where we at. We have to go through tribulation in order to get the inheritance. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of the Messiah. Looking forward, fam, to see y'all in the wilderness. By the grace of the Most High, he keep us alive, that we may be a part of the second Exodus. Also, if you like what we do, please share this video, give us a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and share this video, because a lot of people need it. Don't fall for the okie doke, family. Hold on what you know. Peace and blessings. Love y'all. And please support the Dry Bones Project.